there. Welcome to the closing bell on the 23rd of July. Today, I'm going to just race through a few little companies where I'm seeing, the setup slowly arriving of a potential buy signal, just sort of show you how I look at these things as far as individual stocks go, because the markets overall, it's trying to recover. I was saying last week, it's a bit of a 50-50 whether things continue selling off or have a bit of a bounce. We have seen a bit of a rally, and it is trying to break through to the upside, but we have a lot of weight, is what I'd say, above the market. So the rally can really end at any time. It's only short-term traders who would be jumping on a few things, but we are seeing a little bit of buying come in into a few commodity stocks. I'm seeing a few little signs. We had a bit of a reversal in gold. So it could start to develop into a bit more of a rally from here. So I'll just quickly show you the US, how it's looking, and then show you a couple of these little stocks that I'm looking at. So just looking at the S&P 500, and just following on from last week, we're just watching this weekly trend develop, aren't we? If we're just looking back here, this is going back, all the way back to 2019. Look at these weekly trends with that 10-week exponential moving average versus the 20-week simple. So just looking at that weekly trend quite simply, it picks it up pretty well, doesn't it? That weekly uptrend lasting there for a year. Then we had that really bad sell-off in 2020. And look how long that weekly trend lasted, just went on and on and on for a couple of years. And now we're really in the middle of this weekly downtrend. So that can continue. So I guess that's the main point, is that even though we're seeing an uplift and prices are actually breaking through that 10-week moving average, that can lead to a rally, but it can get snuffed out at any moment. Any bad news and this downtrend could easily continue. So you're looking at the current rally as, yes, it can definitely pick up steam, but you're wary of the fact that the music can stop at any moment. But this is what I was sort of showing you last week, where I was just saying, we had the weekly buy pivot, and in a downtrend, the buy pivots, of course, are less likely to work, but they still can. They still can work when things are overextended. So, we had one weekly buy pivot there, which didn't work, and markets got hammered. And then we got another weekly buy pivot, and that's the one I've been watching for this last period, saying, the buying pressure should come in around that sort of midpoint and buy zone of that buy pivot. And you can see it's been flirting with it for a few weeks, and now it's turned up. So we are seeing a sort of a breakout above the 10-week moving average, above that range. So this can sort of accelerate to the upside, to that longer term moving average. So the conditions are ripe for a bit more of a rally. But yes, I'm definitely aware that all it will take is some bad news and the music can stop. So you want to be pretty nimble out there. So if I just look at a few little stocks that are running, even though markets are very weak, of course, coal is flying. We know about that. There's a little group, which I've just heard about, sort of been watching the Noosa mining conference. A few of you out there may have been up there or watching it on the webinar. But Bowen, coking coal, sort of jumped out at me. A guy who basically ran and founded Stanmore Coal, running the show there, and they're going to grow their production quite rapidly over the next year or two. From a standing start, they've been buying a few mines here and there and cobbling it all together. And they've definitely been running pretty hard, but they got hit with that Queensland change of royalty. You'll see on this chart, the stock has had a good run, from around 5 cents up to 40 cents. And you can see it's really been blasted by that announcement of the huge jump in royalties. but it is starting to see buying pressure again. And we've got a nice long-term uptrend here. So it's definitely a stock just to do a bit of work on if you're interested in that space. I know some people won't go near it, but really it's definitely an area where there's a lot of interest at the moment worldwide as people look for thermal coal, but this is actually coking coal. And I think coking coal prices have been coming off pretty dramatically over the last sort of few months. So I guess you've got to be aware of that. But this is just a little company that stuck out at me because it is actually running. It's a bit of a difficult chart because we've had that huge range in the last month. So the way I guess I'd be looking at it is just this last wave higher. And you can see prices pulling back into that buy zone. I guess I'd prefer to be a buyer around there, that 16 to 20 cent region. It's up at 28 cents at the moment. So maybe it's a little bit hot where it is right now. But yeah, on any weakness, that might be one you'd be interested in picking up. Tietto is another one, a gold mine getting developed in Africa, and they're on budget, all looking pretty good, and will be great production, very high grades. This one has been rallying pretty well, and if we just look at the range it's been in, this last major wave, you can see there lots of good buying pressure coming in around that buy zone area. We had a rally up into that sell zone. You can see that's where the selling pressure came in. And we had another wave down just recently with the weakness in the gold price. But look how well the stock has bounced back this month, going from around 30 cents up to 47 cents, and will create the monthly buy pivot, I'm guessing, this month. So again, any weakness might be a bit hot right now, but any weakness in this stock back towards that 40 cent region or mid 30s is probably good buying from here because they are actually looking at going into production by the end of this year. And you often get that big uplift as they commission the plant and everything gets up and running. Look, if gold can bounce back as well, really this stock should fly. So I've definitely got my beady little eyes on that one. And finally, in that tech space, there's a lot of beaten up stocks there, aren't there? This is BTH, Bigtincan Holdings, was a bit of a market darling there for a while, and it's come back to earth with, when you're trading at 10 times revenue, and, that heat has come out, and a lot of those things trading around 5 times I'm seeing now or less. But this one's market leader. If you're thinking about the next 5-10 years, that ultimately will be making good money down the track. And this could be a bit of a chance to jump on after we've had this big clear out. So just looking at this one, the last major wave higher on this monthly chart, you can see from below 30 cents in the crash, 2020 crash, up to $1.60 is the range. Pulled back to the point of control, you can see there. Couldn't make it through the sell zone. And here it is. It's failed all the way down to the bottom of the buy zone. And this month, there's a chance that could create the monthly buy pivot. So a pretty classic looking setup for me, where I'd be looking at picking up a bit of that stock next month on weakness. So there's a few little ideas for you there. If the stock market can stabilize around here and have a bit of a run, that might be a few worth having a look at. But yeah, big picture, you are remaining nimble and you're very aware that the music can stop really at any time and things can turn back down. So you just want to be a little bit careful out there still. All right. Well, I shall come back with more next week. Cheers.